In this video, I'm going to show how to use Robot Studio to develop a rapid program for a real-world robot. To start off with, we're going to go to the Controllers tab, and we're going to connect to a controller. The reason we have to be connected to a controller is because each type of robot arm, be it articulated, delta, SCARA, all have their own particular sets of commands that you can and can't use. So in order for Robot Studio to know what commands you can work with, you have to select the right type of arm. So we'll select on Add Controller. This will allow us to grab a real-world controller that we're connected to on the same subnet, and we can select Bender. I'm going to select that one because that's the robot that's closest to me. Then we'll go back to the File tab, and we'll select Rapid Module File. And then lastly, Main Module. By selecting Main Module, it creates a pre-built section of code that has the headers and footers required in order for your program to work. We have module and end module, and then we have proc and end proc, which stands for procedure and end procedure. The procedure is the portion of code that you're actually going to get the robot to run. We'll start off by renaming this. I'm naming mine MyLab 3. And then in the comments section here, I'm also going to put the name in. And then because I already have planned my program and I know what positions that I'm going to use, I'm going to start by defining those. Each position that we use in Robot Studio, we define with the commands constant, and it's of type rob target. You'll notice as I start typing this, it narrows down a list of different commands that are available to try and help you program faster. Once you've narrowed it down to a single item, or the blue highlighted item is the item that you're after, you can actually hit the Tab key to select it. And by hitting Tab a second time, it will automatically populate with data that relates to that particular instruction. In this case, the rob target gives us the coordinate data of that particular point that we're working with. Then we're going to go to the ID, and we're going to change the ID to be the name of the point that we want. For example, here I'm going to use P10. Then I can hit the down arrow and define the rest of the points that I want for this particular program. Once I've defined all of these points, you'll notice as I go through defining these, they aren't exactly aligned. There's a really cool function inside Robot Studio here that allows you to automatically format your document the way that it's intended to be. That's the format command. So once we have all code that we want to have in there, we can go up here and click on Format, and it'll automatically align everything the way that we want it to be. Next, I'm going to go into Procedure, and I'm going to write the actual code for my robot program. I'm going to work with a couple of different commands here. I'm going to start off with a move J, hit Tab twice to get the default argument brought in, and then I can replace this arg with the point that I want it to go to. So to start off with, I'll move to my safe position. And you'll notice as I start typing this, it tells me that I have something called safe, it's a rob target, and it's a type constant rob target. So I know that that's the right argument to put in that position. I can then hit Enter or Tab to save that selection. Then I'll add a new line, and I'll add the other commands that I want for this particular program. You'll notice when I add a point like move C, I end up with two argument areas to put in two different points. Now, once you've gotten to a sufficient point that you want to save your program, we can save the program in two ways. We can either save it to the robot or we can save it to our local machine. In order to save it to our local machine so that we can edit it later, we can pull down this program, drop down at the top here, and say Save Program As. This will allow us to pick somewhere on the computer to save our program. Or in my case, I'm going to save the program to the controller. You'll notice that it automatically populates a name in here. This isn't the name that I actually want to call my program, so we'll change that in a minute. On the robots here in our lab, we want to save everything under the student programs directory. So we'll click on that twice to get into the student programs directory, and then we'll name the folder. In my case, I'm going to name the folder the same as my module name. This is a good practice to get into, so it's easy to organize and figure out what you're working with. Once you have the folder name typed, you can press Save. Now the program successfully resides on your robot. You can proceed over to the robot controller, open up that program in Program Editor, and modify the positions to any positions that you like. I hope this tutorial was helpful, and we'll see you in the next one.